All right, part 2. Sorry for the interruption, I'm not sure what happened. Sorry about that. I've never had that happen before where the live just shut down. But yeah, let's use that as as a continuance for this exercise, which is that it's like that things will shift and all of a sudden there's like something unexpected happens. So what does it feel like to be able to remain calm and present and not necessarily, activated when something unexpected happens? So just taking a moment to tune into that, like what does that feel like to be feel safe, and what is the home environment that exists in? Now next I want to look draw into feelings. So for an optimal state, I want to look at what does, take a moment to reflect on what does it feel like to have emotional capacity that is allows you to be in the presence and experience really large emotions, both negative and positive, without being overtaken by them, overwhelmed, weighed down, that they you can actually like feel them, you can observe them in other people, and that like there's sort of a largeness of your life as far as being able to access more of the feeling of it. And so just taking a moment to kind of tune in to sort of like, imagining you're in your space, like what would that look like looking out of your eyes? It's like, would things colors be a little brighter? Would, just would things, would you be noticing things more? Like what does it feel like? And even a physical prompt. And a physical prompt for this is, like move your hips a little bit and notice how that creates movement in your body, like all like both in your legs and in your torso. And just in that movement, like that, it's like, only get it to the point where it's like, like pleasurable, you know, and if it's stiff a little bit, or there's tension or pain, don't push into that or don't do it at all. And just make note of that. And now the other prompts we're going to look at are the feelings of like what you're doing in this ideal state. So what do you do? Like how do you spend your days? Like what is the work you do? Are you writing a book? Do you work in an office that you really like, where you really like everyone and it's a 9 to 5 and you could just leave your work at the end of the day and not think about it? Are you working in a restaurant? Are you raising children? Is it your life more simple? Maybe you've pared down your standard of living, so called, and like you have a more simple life, and you spend time doing things that are, maybe you teach yoga, maybe you're an executive at a company that you've started, maybe you're an executive in somebody else's company, and you really have, with like feeling safe, with being able to have your emotions, it really feels authentically like an expression of who you are, because you're making an impact on the lives of the people who your company serves and the people who work for you. It's like really like thinking like, what do you do and that is in alignment with your integrity and your authentic expression of who you are? Next, we're going to look at who is around you. Who are the people that surround you? How are you connected to others? And just like, what does it feel like to be in relationship? And I want to even consider like, imagine that these are relationships where you can have conflicts that are resolved without, where you're moving forward constructively instead of creating a lot of tension. And so just taking a moment to tune in, like, what does it feel like? Maybe taking a breath inward and out, and just imagining, what does it feel like to be working with in your home, in your community, in the spaces that you occupy? Like, what is this, like the more ideal state of the people who are closest to you? And what does that feel like? And what are the things that are important? And comparing the difference between what does it feel like now relative to this optimized state. And so in the interest of time, I'm going to kind of wrap this up, but there's three other components to this, and one of them is speaking your authentic truth. So, what does it feel like to not hold yourself back, to speak freely and openly about your thoughts without feeling that you need to edit them or censor them? And I'm talking about censoring things that are really important for the expression of who you are. So, what does that feel like? And this also extends to creating things that are authentic expressions of who you are. And this can be related to work, but ultimately, what we're talking about is a separate aspect that is, I guess I'd say, like non commercial, which is just the things that you create in the spirit of truly expressing yourself. And whether those can be monetized or not, fair enough. And then we're talking about the next is up is vision. Excuse me. I was going to have a glass of water and I was like, I won't need it. Like, I need it. So, but I don't have time. So I'm going to wrap this up. Wait, hold on. Just going to take a second. See if that passes. Okay. All right. Cough it out. Okay. And the next two segments are really the like outcroppings of the lower aspects, like, or the earlier aspects being actualized, because once we feel safe, our inner emotion able to express and act in integrity and feel loved and connected, that being able to express ourselves is like it comes more naturally. And also being able, and this is the sixth component, which is to have vision, to trust our perception, to have more ideas and for them to come freely and like almost, kind of consistently, and to be able to trust them. None of this like, here's a stupid idea, like, maybe, why am I bringing this up, but I can't, like, that kind of minimizing. It's like, here's an idea I have. And then last but not least, we have the what would traditionally be called intellect, but understanding and knowing. And this is also another aspect that once we sort of unlock the held tensions that have to do with being constantly like vigilant, constantly suppressing emotions, constantly like acting out of integrity, and putting a lot of effort into things that are outside of what is connected to our larger, better interests, that, it's like once that stuff gets unlocked, the capacity for like knowledge and understanding and comprehension becomes less rigid. So it becomes a lot more open and we enter into a field of curiosity. So all right. So the takeaway here for today is that, this is uniquely yours. And folks who've done this exercise in the past have marveled at the fact that there's this notion like everybody wants the same things, but the way it shows up, the way it feels, the way it actually, like, what the way you connect to it is intimately and uniquely your own. So continuing to invest in the investigation of like, what is this, does this physically, like, what's the like physical reality, what's the feeling, and what do I see, and what do I understand, and what do I know about this, is, helps us avoid that sort of top of the ladder Thomas Merton moment mentioned in the first half of this. So tomorrow's topic, and actually now it's Tuesday's topic, is going to be making the case for why there's absolutely nothing wrong with you. And closing off, I'm going to make a recommendation. And this is like a low to no cost way to really like optimize your day. And that is, I want to talk about scent. So just taking a moment today to, either like spritz a scent that, like to smell something, to smell a flower, to steep a cup of tea and like kind of take in the sense of that is to have a sensory moment. If you walk by a store and you see they have perfumes and you like perfumes, step in maybe and have a little sniff, but to bring scent into your day today. And if you tell me about it, about what you experienced, I would be delighted. So that is it for today. I apologize for the interruption, and I hope that that didn't. I see that it kind of did. Um, I apologize for that disruption. I'm going to figure out how and why that happened, and hopefully we never have it happen again. All right. Thank you. And I can't wait to see you next time. Bye for now.